Mindfulness for Resilience with Mary-Jo Fetterly, funded by the Craig H. Nielsen Foundation and brought to you by SCI&U for Healthy Living.
So for now, welcome back, and we're going to be moving into our practice. We are talking about the mind today, and I will be giving you a pretty specific practice to work with. I really love what the analogy of when we're stuck in traffic, and we're kind of in this traffic jam, and we think the traffic jam is out there, and actually we're in the traffic jam at the same time. So that's kind of a way you can look at thoughts. We often don't even notice that we're in the traffic jam of our own thoughts. So as we move into the practice today, become compassionate and also really kind and very curious about thinking, because we know for sure that our inner dialogue is incessant. It's often repetitive. Jack and Tara say that we have over 60,000 thoughts a day, and 98% of them we had yesterday. And so, that's kind of funny in one way. And you can kind of think that you're entering a desert, and there's a joke about this man, and he's driving along and he's about to enter the desert, and the sign says, "Now it's you and you alone with your tedious thoughts for the next 200 miles." And so, we kind of are habituated into thinking. It's been a good thing for humanity to get us to where we are. But of course, if it's repetitive, and if it's negative thinking, or if it's an attitude that really doesn't serve you, that leads to tight and resistant kind of behaviors, then, ideally, by seeing those thoughts and kind of being able to identify them, you can create that beautiful space that allows you to witness them and identify them, but not necessarily identify with them. So that's the concept around looking at our thoughts. So just imagine, just for a moment, just even closing your eyes, and just think of the word trouble, and just let the word trouble be in your mind, and just notice, and as you mentally whisper to yourself, trouble, just notice what it's like to have that word trouble floating around inside you. And then that's enough of that one. And then the next word that you're going to put into your mind is kindness. And then just for a moment, allow kindness to move through you. The idea of kindness, the thought, and what it feels like, and notice what that's like in your body. And so we know that thoughts create a very real physical experience and an emotional experience. And evolution has rigged us to be vigilant about potential threats. And so that's really what our minds are doing. So we don't want to, berate ourselves for having thoughts. We want to know that this has actually been an evolutionary process. But they also can perpetuate attitudes of tension or fear. The Buddhist taught that wherever a person is frequently thinking of, or whatever they're thinking of and reflecting on, that will become the inclination of their mind. And that's a powerful statement. And of course, neuroscience can back that, by the idea that what's neurons that fire together wire together. So our thinking is habitual, and we are actually using mindfulness to stop that loop, so that we don't become our habits, and then we can actually be a free individual and think what we choose when we choose. So let's allow ourselves to find our dignified and very upright and alert, but relaxed seating position. And moving yourself into a quiet, restful state of attention without tension. And begin by just focusing on your sensory body, your feeling body, your emotions. Is there a predominant weather in the horizon right now? Is there any predominating thoughts or feelings or attitudes that you bring with you in this moment? And just allow them to be part of the whole beautiful mix of all that's moving through you. And so you'll be noticing your breath. You'll be noticing the feeling at the outer corners of your eyes. And you'll be noticing the sounds in the room around you, maybe external to the room. You'll be noticing your felt sense of your body, the depth of the weight of your body, if you breathe into that. And as you exhale, relaxing into that. And then this breath again, just breathing into your physicality, to the weight. And to the state of your being. And if any of those places are uncomfortable, just allow that beautiful grandparently type of embracing of whatever it is to be what it is without any judgment. And notice that that's not the only thing that's going on as you continue to kind of move through your various different senses, feeling, tasting, hearing, noticing all that is right now. And then allowing the deep relaxation of your mindfulness practice to just be encouraged by taking just a couple rounds of nice full breaths. And as you inhale, just really allow yourself to land a little bit more deeply into your physical body. Softening the inside of your body from the inside out. And as your breath and your physicality land in a nice, deep, relaxed place, remember that we're effortless right now. There's no striving. We're not trying to do or accomplish anything other than just pure awareness in the moment, unbiased. And so what we're going to do now is we're going to do a little exercise to watch our thoughts. And you're going to be like a cat, a beautiful big old cat or whatever cat you can imagine. And the cat's in the house over the mouse hole. And you're going to be watching that mouse hole. And the mouse hole and the little mouse that comes out of that hole is your thought, your brain and your thoughts. So every time a mouse pokes its head out as a thought, that cat's just going to notice. And like a cat, all systems are in alert. Wow, what thought is it? When did it come? What is it about? And then relaxing, of course, after you've noticed, and then noticing the next mouse. And there could be a couple mouse holes, but I think there'll just be one mouse hole for today, and we'll just allow ourselves to do for the next minute. I'm going to time us, or maybe 2 minutes actually, and we'll just let the awareness be very cognizant of any mouse that comes out of that hole. And you can begin now. Good. Good work. And allowing yourself as the cat to just be, very cognizant that the how many mice were coming out of the hole and what types of thoughts, perhaps. Some of us feel thoughts, some of us see images, some of us hear thoughts. There's many different forms that thoughts can come, maybe as an idea or an insight in a moment. And all of them are really beautiful ways that the brain works and functions. And just like we notice our breath, we're really just getting to know in a more intimate way what makes us tick and what's going on. Because if that's going on 24/7, then we want to kind of know what's running the show. So allow yourself now, as we move toward the ending of our practice today, to just come back into that kind, gentle, loving presence that you touch in on and that you know is part of your capacity to really have choice and to be able to have perception and perhaps even more clarity. And just give yourself a real, I think, encouraging sense of your own capacity to learn how um, to see your habits but not become them. And knowing that that space and that distance affords you the capacity to choose then. And it's in that choice that we really have our empowerment. And so feeling again your breath or whatever anchor that really resonates for you as your place of bringing your awareness back into the present moment. And allowing that to be the place that you hear the chime to end our practice today, and allow your awareness with sound to really follow the chime until the very end of its sounding. And as you come back, just giving yourself time to notice the room around you, the quality of the information that's coming in. Perhaps things are clearer, brighter. Maybe you notice something in the room you didn't notice before. And just being really attentive to your moving into this transition where you now come into that space that you occupy outside of your eyes in the front of your being as we gather back in. There's a story that Tara and Jack shared with us the other day about a tiger in New York and in Washington, D.C., pardon me. And this tiger was in a 12 by 12 cage, and like most animals in a 12 by 12 cage, it started to pace and was pacing and didn't stop pacing from the time it woke up until when it went to bed. And so the zookeepers were concerned, but they didn't have any options. And so for the next couple of years, that was the tiger's lot. And then there was a great funding that came to this particular zoo, and they were afforded some nice land outside of the city. And so they moved the zoo out there. And of course, the tiger was, high on their list to create a beautiful open space so that the tiger could roam and wander like a cat likes to do. And so then when they brought the tiger there, her name was Mohini, and they released her into her new habitat. The tiger only used 12-foot square space and paced. And so it was so habituated into that way of thinking and way of being that it couldn't see past those 12 feet, even though it could go for a half an acre. So in some ways, that's a great example of some ways that our mind gets habituated. I mean, unfortunately, addiction and those type of things can be kind of examples of that. So let's not be the tiger in the cage. So now we have time for some questions or comments. If anybody wants to fire anything into the chat, you're welcome to do so. And Paul and Lynn may have some comments about the practice. I'm not sure. How was that for you guys?
That was great today. That was awesome. I'm in an environment right now that feels really comfortable. So everything clicked well.
And what clicked for you? Like, how can you describe what was awesome?
I think I was able to, listening to some of Dylan's questions earlier, I was able to be more focused. I've got some nice light coming in here right now, and it was just because my environment was comfortable and I'm feeling physically fairly comfortable right now. I was able to focus on the practice more so than sometimes in the past.
Nice. And you said a couple really important things, Paul. You said because I'm physically more comfortable right now, which for our group, is a really big piece. There's days when we have off days. And I think, we'll look at that in one of our next episodes where we talk about how do we deal with that, the discomfort in the body and the challenges that we face in that way. So thanks for bringing that up, and we'll kind of earmark that for a next session. And I'm curious what you said you weren't as distracted or you're more focused. How was the cat and mouse analogy?
I think that helped. You've used different analogies in the past, and I like them all. I don't know if that one was any better than any of the other ones, but I have a lot going on during the day, so having this time to say, all right, I'm stopping, and this is what I want to do. I think that for me helped me stay focused and grounded. And the analogies are just a kind of a little bonus.
Right. Dylan, did you stay awake?
I stayed awake, Mary-Jo. It was really good for me. The cat thing, I think I have to work on a little bit, just to try to get. I'm more visual when I'm doing something like that, and I couldn't get the visual in my head. So I think that was a little bit of a thing for me. But like I said, you keep working with me, and it keeps getting better. So we'll keep going.
That's the way it all works. Yeah, we do it every day, and every day it gets better, and that's really true. And
yeah.
Yeah. Any other questions coming from the group or comments?
Oh, Kim has a question.
Thanks, Delene. So as Delene will know, because I just sent her a text, today I tried turning my screen off, wondering, because everybody's different. So today I turned my screen off to see if that would help me. Quite interestingly, it had the opposite effect, because I've got my computer, my Alexa over here, and I'm thinking about things. And I knew that in a way that because there was no accountability, that I could easily do something else. But I wouldn't have gone to that place. I never would have gone to a place of thinking about what I'm doing later today or texting if the screen was on. So I think I'll leave it on next time.
Very good to learn. Wow, good for
But
you.
some people are the opposite, right? They prefer to do it and be silent or private.
That
And
makes
this,
that makes
yeah,
a lot of sense what Kim is saying, because I myself would do that. If you turn the screen off, it's easy to look around and see what everybody else is doing. If you leave your screen on, you're worried that other people are looking and seeing you look around. So I think that it helps to get a little bit more into it, which by this I mean is kind of like having that group effect, right? Um, just a different way, I guess, of meditation, doing it in a group.
yeah. Great comments. Yeah. And there was something that came in on the chat. Barry, can you read that?
Yeah, I was just noticing that. I like not having to be my thoughts. Will allow myself that more. So that's from Cecilia. And she was also asking about how the Zooms are continuing through October. So yeah, we're going to carry on with these at the same time until the end of October for sure. And we'll make sure we let you know in plenty of time moving forward what that's going to look like prior to the end of October.
Yeah. And just to add to that, it will be, I'm pretty sure, still the same format in terms of how you sign in, and you'll get an email. It'll still be with Zoom and YouTube as far as I know. So the podcast thing won't change this for you guys. So you're dialed in right now, and that won't change. That you can just tune in every Wednesday on that same link, I believe. All right. Well, that was a great practice for all of us and for us too, as we're figuring out how to kind of produce these into a podcast for y'all. So thank you for your patience and also your practice and for being here.